Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Will Jones from Stone Circle Games, and today I'm here with our brand new game, Battle for Biternia. I'm going to show you what it's like and how to play it. We've been working really hard on this one for a long time, and I'm super excited to show you exactly what we've got. Let's get into it. First, a couple of things to keep in mind as we go through this. The copy of the game that I'm showing you right now is one of our prototypes, so the full production run copy that you buy is going to look a little bit different physically. Don't let that throw you with the components. Secondly, I'm going to be outlining first the rules for a 2-player game of Battle for Biternia. There are some rule variations for 3 and 4-player, but they're pretty minor. I'm just going to tack them on at the end for you. Now then, Battle for Biternia, as you might guess, is a game about battle between 2 teams of opposing heroes. You could think of it as a tabletop import of the MOBA genre of online video games. If you play those sorts of things a lot, this is going to look really familiar to you. If you're not familiar with that genre, don't worry, the setup is very simple. You've got 2 bases on either end of a battlefield separated by different spaces that are connected by paths that your heroes can travel on. In your base is your elemental bit. That's what you want to protect. If the enemy destroys it, you lose the game. Surrounding your bit on the 3 closest spaces are 3 defensive towers. They're going to help you slow down the enemy team as they try and work towards your base. The first thing you're going to want to do when you're setting this up is each player is going to want to pick a color, red or blue. They're both symmetrical, just go with your favorite color. Take the standees for the 2 bits, 1 of each color, and 6 towers, 3 of each color out of the box, and place them in the appropriate spaces. Bits in the corners, towers just in front of them. If you get confused, there are little pedestal icons on the spaces for the bits on the board, so you know where to put them, and little broken tower symbols on the spaces where the towers should go. Once you're done with that, take 9 gold coins out of the box and place 3 of them each in the 3 center spaces, the ones marked with the gold coin icons. Then take the tower mat and 2 hero mats of your color and place them in front of you. Now we start in on the fun part, drafting your heroes. Each player is going to have a team of 4 heroes that they send out to do their bidding and fight the enemy. There are 12 possible heroes to play with in the base game, each with their own hero card and matching standee. Randomly pick a player to go first. They start the draft, and you go in normal snake order. Player 1 chooses 1 hero, player 2 chooses 2, player 1 chooses 1, player 2 chooses 2 more, and then player 1 chooses their 4th and final hero. That drafting order is just there to sort of mitigate the advantage of going first. Once you've chosen your heroes, place them face up on your hero boards in the appropriate spaces. Next, find each of your heroes 4 associated power cards. You'll know that they belong to your heroes because they have the hero's title on it, as well as their little icon along the left. For each hero, look through their 4 cards and choose 1 that you would like to start with. Note that you can't start with the hero's ultimate ability, the one that says ultimate on it, because that's too powerful, you gotta wait on that one. But of the other 3, you can choose which one you'd like to start with. Once you've chosen those 4 starting cards, 1 per hero, set them aside for a second, and tuck all the other ones under the hero boards next to their heroes. Keep them face down so that your opponent doesn't know what you've chosen and what you still haven't chosen yet. Next, affix the plastic sliders on your hero boards and your tower board, showing the health of your towers, bit, and heroes, as well as your hero's level. Their health equals the base health notated in the heart symbol on their hero card, plus their level, so in this case, +1. Towers start out at 11 health, your bit starts out at 16, maxing out the sliders. You'll want to make sure that you have close at hand any tokens associated with any of your heroes. Not all heroes have them, but some do. For example, if I had the Hunter on my team, I would need to make sure that I had near me both his favorite enemy token and his bear trap token, because I'm going to need them. Now gather your basic deck. Every player, in addition to their hero power cards, has a deck full of basic power cards that any hero can use. That deck is formed by the following: 4 parries, 4 strikes, 2 dashes, and 2 defends. Get all that together and shuffle it up. Draw the top 4 cards off that basic deck and add them to the 4 hero cards that you chose earlier. Those 8 cards become your starting hand. The rest of those basic cards form your starting deck. Now we need to deploy our heroes onto the battlefield. Player 1 chooses 1 of their hero standees and places it on the battlefield in a space that's either occupied by one of their towers or their bit. Players alternate doing that until all 8 heroes have been placed. During deployment at the very start of the game, all heroes have to either be in a space occupied by a friendly bit or tower, and there can be no more than 2 heroes per space. That prevents you from just clumping all your guys together right at the start. Note that that 2 heroes per space limit is only during deployment. Throughout the rest of the game, when you're moving guys around, they can move in as big a cluster as they like. Once you're done with deployment, that's the end of setup and you're ready to play. Don't worry, it doesn't take nearly as long to do as it did to explain. The actual gameplay in Battle for Biternia takes place in a series of rounds that each have 4 distinct steps: orders, movement, action, and clean up. In the orders phase, each player chooses 1 card for each of their heroes, usually 4 cards, and places each one face down on the appropriate hero, assigning it to that hero. These cards represent the actions that your heroes will take later in the turn. Bear in mind that basic cards can be assigned to any hero, but each hero power card can only be assigned to its hero, as you might imagine. Say, a hunter card can only be assigned to be performed by the hunter. You don't assign cards to heroes that are currently dead, but every living hero has to have one. Even if you don't necessarily want them to perform an action for some reason, they have to be assigned exactly one card. No more, no less. Once both players have all their secret order cards assigned to their heroes, it's time to move on to movement. Movement is very simple. Each hero gets the opportunity to move exactly one space. If they don't want to move, they just pass. Players alternate making decisions for their heroes. Player 1 moves one of his guys, player 2 moves one of his, player 1 moves a different one of his, etc. When a hero moves, take a movement token from the box and place it on that hero's card so you know that for this turn he's used his opportunity to move. Ditto for if he passes. Take the same token, place it on his card. When a hero moves, he can only move to an adjacent space, clearly denoted by these paths on the board. No matter how close two spaces are, they are not adjacent if there's no path connecting them. Note that fallen heroes, those currently dead, don't get an order card assigned to them. They do have the opportunity to pass their movement. We recommend that if you have a dead guy on your side, let him pass his movement first before anything else happens. That gives your other guys a little bit more of a chance to see where your opponent's moving his guys to and react accordingly. Once all that's done, we're on to the action stage. This is where the real meat of the game is. In the action phase, players will once again alternate back and forth, activating the orders that they had previously placed on their heroes. To activate a hero, simply turn the face down order card on him face up and take its effects. The effects of an action card are notated in the main box below its art. The most common effect is an attack. You'll know an effect is an attack because it says attack, preceded by the type and then the power. There are two types of attacks. Physical, denoted by a little sword icon, and magical, denoted by a little wand. The two don't actually have any difference on their own, but certain effects in the game will reference different types of attacks. Immediately after the word attack will be a number. That's the attack's power, the amount of damage that it does. For example, an attack 4 will do 4 points of damage to whatever it hits. There are, of course, other effective actions besides attacks, and they're always notated on the card, spelled out in the text box. Also be aware that each of your heroes have traits on them that can modify the effects of things they do. When in doubt, read the cards. Now here's exactly how attacks work. When you flip over an attack, you're going to declare a target. A target has to be an enemy that exists in the same space as you. That target, whether it be hero, tower, or bit, will then take damage equal to the power of your attack, minus their defense. Defense is crucial for this game, and it functions in kind of an unusual way. Defense simply subtracts from the damage taken. For example, if your fighter hits my hunter with an attack of power 3, my hunter would take 3 points of damage. However, if he currently has 2 defense, he would subtract 2 from that 3 and only take 1 point of damage. Towers and bits always have a natural defense of 1, but the defense of any given hero is variable. The way a hero's defense is determined is by the defense value of the last order card that they turned face up. See, when you activate a hero, the card that they just used doesn't get discarded. It gets tucked under the hero face up. And on the left of each action card is a little shield symbol with a number in it, and that is that card's defense value. There it will stay under that hero face up with just the defense value showing until something removes it. And until that time, that is that hero's defense value. A huge part of this game is watching his defense values ebb and flow over the course of turns and trying to match your attacks to where defense values are low. When an action card is turned face up and its defense value comes into play, any previous action card that's face up under that hero is then discarded. Now sometimes you'll run into a situation where you don't necessarily want to play the action card that you have assigned to a hero. Maybe you assigned him to attack and you were anticipating attacking one particular hero, but your opponent moved that hero away, so now there's nothing for him to attack. In that event, you have a couple of options of what to do instead of actually using the card as printed. First is resting. This is the main way that you heal your heroes. If you want to rest, simply discard that hero's assigned action card and heal him 3 hit points, plus 3 additional hit points if he's sharing a space with your bit. Another choice is farming for gold. Gold is how you level up your heroes later on. To farm for gold, discard the action card, just like with resting, and gain 1 gold coin from the bank, plus 1 additional gold coin if there happens to be one on the space that you're standing on. Remember, the center 3 spaces each started with a couple of gold coins on them. Bear in mind though, there's a trade-off. When you discard this action card, the one that was already face up underneath your hero also gets discarded like normal, which means that there's no card underneath him, which means his defense is 0 for the time being. There are a few different special types of attacks you should be aware of. First are ranged attacks. Ranged attacks function just the same as normal attacks, except that they can target someone in your space or in an adjacent space. You can fire down the road. Then you got area attacks. Area attacks don't target a specific hero, they target a space and damage every single enemy in that space. If the area attack doesn't otherwise specify or say ranged, the space you have to choose is the one that you're standing in. Then there are a few attacks that are channeled. Channeled attacks only take effect at the end of the round. They don't do their damage immediately, your opponent has a chance to react to them. The last really important keyword is interrupt. Interrupt is exactly what it sounds like. If an action card says interrupt on it, you can turn it face up and activate the hero with it at any time, even if you're interrupting what another player is doing. There are a few other special terms that we should go over later on, like on-hit effects and things, but we'll get into that later. I don't want to get bogged down in those details right now. So you're attacking things, you're getting attacked, your heroes are losing hit points, and eventually someone's going to get to 0 hit points. That means they've died. They are fallen. Fallen heroes aren't dead forever, they'll come back, but you do have to do a few things with them first. 1. Remove that hero's standee from the board and place it off to the side. 2. Take his hero card off of your hero board and place it in your discard pile. 3. Discard any action cards face up or face down that were attached to that hero. 4. Your opponent gains gold equal to that fallen hero's current level. 5. The player who controlled the fallen hero, their bit takes 3 damage. This is a great way to damage your opponent's bit, kill enough of their heroes, and eventually it'll be destroyed and you'll win the game. You're not just going to be fighting your opponent's heroes either, you can also destroy their towers. When you knock a tower down to 0 hit points, it's destroyed. You remove the standee from the board, you gain 3 gold, and your opponent's bit loses 3 health. Destroying your opponent's towers is actually really important for another reason too. You can't actually attack your opponent's bit until one of the towers is destroyed, and you can't move past an active tower to get to your opponent's bit. You have to deal with them in order. Nor can you shoot your opponent's bit with a ranged attack while you're standing in a space that has one of their active towers. Destroy the tower first, that will clear that particular path to the bit. Do remember though that towers and bits can and will fight back. At the end of a round, just before channeled actions take effect, all of the towers and bits on the board get attacks. They all have the same attack too. Area attack 4 to every enemy in the same space as the tower or bit. Once all the living heroes on the board have been activated, turned up their cards, taken their actions, rested, farmed for gold, whatever they're doing, the action phase is over and we move on to cleanup, the end of the round. Cleanup goes very quickly in 5 stages just like this. First off, each player gains 2 gold from the bank. Second, each player pays gold to the bank to level up their heroes if they like. We'll get into exactly how that works in a second. Third, each player can discard any number of cards from their hand. This is where we get into deck cycling. I highly recommend discarding really crappy cards from your hand because the more you discard, the faster you'll cycle back through to your cool stuff again. Fourth, after you've discarded, each player draws cards until they have exactly 8 cards in their hand. If you go to draw a card from your deck but your deck is empty, you have to turn your discard pile into your new deck. But this part is key. When you turn your discard pile into your deck, do not shuffle it. Simply turn it over so it goes from face up to face down. That's your new deck. That's how we preserve fidelity of cooldowns. The longer that something's been in your discard pile, the quicker it will come up in your new deck. The 5th and final stage of cleanup is simply passing the first player marker to the next player, so they're first player for the next round, and then the next round begins. So leveling up. It's pretty simple, but there are a couple of components to it. Heroes level up individually, and the cost in gold to level up is equal to the level that you're trying to ascend to. For example, if you're trying to level up your level 1 hunter to level 2, it costs 2 gold. You can level up any number of heroes per round. If you've got the gold, you can level them up straight through. When you level up a hero, first thing you want to do is raise their hit points by 1 to reflect their new maximum. Next, look at the face down hero cards that you didn't choose earlier and tucked away. You're going to choose a new one of them to go into your hand right now. Bear in mind that your ultimate can only be chosen when you're going up to level 4. It will always be the last power that a hero learns. But as you level your heroes up and add more and more of their hero cards into your deck, you're going to find that you are forced to play basic cards with them less and less. Bear in mind that you go through the leveling up process, including grabbing your new power card straight into your hand, before the discard and draw process of the cleanup phase. And those are pretty much the rules. First player to destroy their opponent's bit wins. So now let's get into those very specific keyword definitions that I was talking about earlier. The first thing that you have to understand is what's called on-hit effects. Sometimes you'll see an attack, and after it will say hit plus some extra effect. What that means is that the extra effect only takes place if the target actually took damage from the attack. If you hit them with an attack value of 3 and they had 3 defense that negated the damage, dropped it down to 0, they weren't technically hit by it, so the on-hit effect doesn't take place. Some of those miscellaneous effects and other things we'll go through right now in quick list form. Here we go. First, confuse. When a hero is confused, you place a confusion token on top of their player card on the hero board. The next time that a confused hero tries to assign an action card in the orders phase, they do not assign one from their hand as normal. Instead, they assign randomly the top card of their player's deck. Heal. Healing is the exact opposite of an attack. The targeted hero gains hit points equal to the strength of the healing effect. Note that a hero can never go above their maximum hit points. Any excess healing is lost. Immobilize. When a hero is immobilized, set their standee on its side. The next time that hero has an opportunity to move, put them face up on their feet again instead. Pierce. A piercing attack ignores an amount of the target's defense equal to the piercing number. Stun. When a hero is stunned, discard all action cards attached to that hero, face up and face down. Their defense is 0 and they have nothing left to do this round. Stealth. A hero with stealth on their face-up card cannot be targeted specifically by enemy heroes. They can still be affected by area attacks and other things that don't require a specific targeting, however. Shield tokens. Shield tokens are like little extra life points. When you have a shield token and you take damage, remove the shield token and reduce the damage by 1. This stacks for as many shield tokens as you have on you. Attack tokens function the same way as healing tokens, only in reverse. The next time that hero attacks, increase the power of their attack by 1 per attack token, then remove the attack tokens. They're gone. Attack tokens are removed by the hero's next activation, even if it's not an attack, or if they're stunned. Rules for 3 or 4 players. There are only a couple of changes here, and they have to do with fighting in teams. If it's a 3-player game, it's going to be 2 players against 1. If it's a 4-player game, it'll be 2 teams of 2. The basic idea is that if you're on a team of 2, everything is split down the middle. Each person controls 2 heroes, and they have a deck that's exactly half the size of their normal one. 2 parries, 2 strikes, 1 dash, and 1 defend. Your maximum hand size will be 4, not 8, and you'll share your gold pool collectively with each other. When it comes time for a team to draft, their draft pick will alternate internally within the team. However, when you're deploying at the beginning of the game, moving your heroes or activating them, you don't have to alternate between players. Player 1 on a team can activate both of their heroes before either of the heroes from player 2, for example. Players can share information as much as they like. They can discuss strategy, probably in whispers, look at each other's hands, look at each other's face-down order cards, etc. It really is a team game. You're not in the dark about anything. And yes, in the cleanup phase when you're getting gold, you only get 2 gold per team, not per player. And I think that's it. Those are the rules to Battle for Biternia. There are a few really specific things that I might not have mentioned, some nitty-gritty timing stuff that you might have to go to the rulebook for, but 99% of the time, that's how you play Battle for Biternia. I hope you found this video both informative and entertaining, and that you really enjoyed playing Battle for Biternia. We're really proud of it, and we think you're going to get a lot out of it. So until next time, this is Will Jones for Stone Circle Games saying thanks for watching, and have fun around the table.